Hey y'all, welcome back to At the Table Podcast, the virtual table where we discuss all things young adulting. My name is Fikayo and thank you so much for having me in your ears. You guys have no idea what this podcast means for me. I think you guys I really appreciate all of the support and all of the love and everything. All right. If you are not new to this podcast, you know what this episode is, probably. But if you are new, I'll explain it to you. And this episode is essentially the episodes where I sit down and I just talk. I talk about what's going on. I talk about what's going on in my life. I talk about the things that are happening. I let you guys just come on in this journey with me. And that's what today's episode is going to be. And I really hope that you enjoy it because I love making these. Are y'all ready? Okay. So, of course, we have to start with how have you been praying? And lately, a girl is stressed. I am not going to lie to you. My blood pressure feels like it is 3 notches above, but it's okay. We're getting it through. I love everything that I do. I love everything that I'm a part of. Well, as of today, I love everything that I'm a part of. The things that I don't like, I'm trying to create boundaries and say, I don't want to do them. But yeah, I find that I could be a workaholic. I think I enjoy working. I really do. I think I like having things to do, and that in of itself creates its own challenges. And if anyone else is a workaholic or they enjoy just being busy, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But again, like I've always said, I do have a lot right now, but I don't feel the weight of it. So it hasn't started crushing me yet. So I can still hold everything, but I just need to be careful and make sure that things don't get heavy eventually. But as of right now, as of today, I'm okay and I'm good. And I've just been praying, I guess, to handle my stress. Now we can move on to what are you snacking on? And you know what? This podcast is not a controversial podcast. We do not do controversial topics. We don't like the fight over here, okay? But let me tell you something. Jada Smith just released her book, and child, the internet has been going wild. And not only did she release her book, but she's also been doing crap ton of interviews. So people are getting these sound bites of her that sound absolutely horrible and, completely out of context. And they are slandering her. They are gashing her. They are tearing her apart. Off of these quotes. And I'm not going to say what I think about Jada because at the end of the day, I don't have time to justify nothing. Love her, hate her, I don't care. But you know what? I did listen to her interviews and I think that she is a very interesting woman, to say the least. And I think she's interesting. So I'm not going to lie. I'm going to tell you guys and be upfront. I have been snacking on Jada, and I have been kind of following the whole saga and what's been happening all around her whole book release and people seeing the insides of her marriage with Will Smith and her relationship with Tupac and all those things. And honestly, people having their own opinions. And I really I'm trying to teach myself that I can be in the middle and not have any opinions. I can see both sides and kind of just sit in the moat. And that's okay. And that is okay. So that's what I've been doing with Jada. But it's been very, very interesting to watch, especially someone that came from Baltimore. Or I should say Baltimore. But someone that came from where I came from, right? To hear her story is very interesting. To understand some parts of her story is very interesting. But then there's some parts I definitely don't understand. But I think she's an interesting woman. And I just believe that some people should be studied. And I definitely think Jada should be studied, whether for good or bad. Doesn't matter. She's very interesting to me. But that's that on that. All right. Are you guys ready? We are going to go straight into the episode. Okay. I actually do not know where I want to start with this episode. And I have been thinking all week, like, how will I structure this episode? What will it look like? Because I have things that I definitely want to talk to y'all about. But you know what? We're going to start with the very topic or the very name of this podcast, and it is I am you and you are me. And I say this because, well, I like to assume that if you are listening to this podcast, there's something that you see in me that reminds you of yourself and that feels familiar. And one, I want to say, like, I'm so happy that I'm able to, like, that we're able to be in connection, right? Like that we're able to be in this moment together. But I don't know, like last week was a really hard week for me. I'm finding that lately I'm having to explain myself and explain what I'm doing to people who don't understand. And I don't know how to properly articulate like what I'm going through or the way it feels, I should say. But it can be so demoralizing. Is that the word or is that too strong? I'm not sure. But I guess I can also say it can be so like discouraging when people look at what you have laid out and what you're doing and they're kind of like, mm-mm. And I find that like I'm in that place, right? And I'm constantly having to justify to several different people in my life that I thought would have my back, right? Or would understand, I guess. And be like, this is what I'm doing and this is why I'm doing it. And Amazon once started small as well. And Steve Jobs was also like a small kid as well, just trying to figure it out, you know? Obama too. Okay, maybe not Obama, but you feel me? Like people really did start from humble beginnings, and this is my humble beginning. This is my humble beginning. And I have constantly had to remind myself that this journey is my journey. This journey God gave me, this destiny God gave me, not anybody else. They're not supposed to get it. So I guess like that's my motivation for whoever is listening to this as well. And whoever might feel whatever I'm feeling and might feel like, you know, they're constantly having to explain themselves or people just don't see it. It's not theirs. It's not theirs. It's yours. God gave it to you for a purpose. He gave it to you for a reason. It's not theirs to understand. As long as you understand it and you're able to go chase it. I sat on this podcast for so long, up until it came to a point where it became like, imagine a headache, but in your heart, right? This nagging thing. You're supposed to do this thing. You're supposed to do, and it became stronger and stronger and stronger to the point where I couldn't even handle it anymore. I just had to spit this podcast out because I knew that this was what is connected to whatever I'm meant to do in this world, right? And I'm putting air quotations up. If that even means anything, like if any of us are meant to do anything, I just knew this podcast was something that had to be birthed from me. And I thank God every day that I'm strong enough to listen. And I was strong enough to to begin to walk this path. Because I knew that if I did not do this, if I did not take this chance on myself, I would end up regretting it years later. And it's not that ever is too late of a time, but I know that I was supposed to start this thing earlier. It's hard, especially when you're doing something unconventional, something that looks different, something that doesn't make sense. So, I don't know. I hope that I don't know. I hope everything ends and turns out for all of our good. Like for real. I hope you get to wherever you're trying to go just as much as I hope I can get to wherever I'm trying to go. And this moment right here, this moment of hope, this moment of inspiration, this moment of shared frustration is why I created this podcast. to let you know that you are not alone, and to let me know as well that I am not alone. People keep coming back. People keep listening. People are getting connected to this. People are feeling like what I'm going through. People are going through what I'm going through as well. I'm hustling, y'all. Y'all have no idea. I'm working real hard. I really, anyway, that was definitely something that I was trying to navigate, that I've been trying to navigate, just that feeling, and that feeling of like, am I even doing like the right thing? Like, am I crazy? How do I look from the outside? And for the most part, I'm pretty like insulated to the point where I don't really like, I live in my own bubble for real. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I live in my own bubble, and there isn't too many things that infiltrate this bubble. So I always wonder, like, what does what I'm doing look like from the outside of this dang on bubble? It probably looks insane. But every time I go there, same thing. Same thing. My spirit, my gut, I don't know, telling me it's not theirs. It's not theirs, Fikayo, it's yours. This is your thing. This is your thing. I gave it to you. This is your assignment. And I'm really trying, you know? Okay. Oh, let's move on to the next things I wanted to talk about. So last week, I met up with one of my mentors, and I have so many mentors, and I have so many amazing women that have sown into my life. But this one specifically, we're very similar, but we're also very, very different. And she's an American woman. And as like, how do I explain this? As I am growing older, right? I'm realizing the stark difference in Nigerian culture and American culture. And honestly, it's really because I'm getting more immersed in the American culture. And of course, I was raised here, right? But my parents gave me my Nigerian culture. They surrounded us in Nigerian community. They surrounded us within Nigerian mentality. And if you don't know, I was working for my mom not too long ago, like in the beginning of this year. And it's also a Nigerian agency. It's a Nigerian company. So now coming into like corporate America, right? And being around like people that are not Nigerian, I should just say, is so interesting. And it has created this, it has created this friction, or just this dilemma, right? Like, where does the Nigerian culture stop and the American culture begin, right? And not only, maybe it's not even where does it stop, but where do we like reduce it and allow like the American culture to begin? And this conversation is a fully fledged conversation. There's so many things to talk about, so many nuances. And I mean, that is literally the nuance of the nuanced situation, like the nuances of American culture that I wasn't necessarily taught, but now I'm learning, like the eye contact thing. If you're Nigerian specifically, I know this in the Nigerian culture. If you're Nigerian, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Our culture, we don't really look adults in the eye. There was never, I don't know if it was the way I was raised or the way, I just don't know. I think I've talked to other people, and other people said that they agree with the same thing as well. But there was just never an emphasis on eye contact. So, I mean, I just was never really good at it. We didn't do like a lot of hugs and stuff. We just didn't do it in our culture. Our parents didn't raise us like that. So to come into an American culture where I'm surrounded by just non-Nigerians, it's very interesting because I'm learning all of the nuanced things of American culture. But anyway, it has caused this interesting dilemma that I've been trying to work through. But anyway, going back to my mentor, I was able to talk to her about these things. And it's interesting going back because she isn't Nigerian, but we are so similar. We are so, so similar. And I see a lot of myself in her. And it's very, very interesting because not often do I see myself in people that are non-Nigerian? And the reason is because being Nigerian has been a big part of my identity, right? That it's almost as if my personality sits within the constraints of being Nigerian. But as I'm coming more into like, the non-Nigerian world, I'm seeing a lot of people who remind me of me and are not Nigerian. So I don't know how to explain it, but it's very, very interesting. Anyway, I met with her and I love her. But one thing she does, and I find that like adults do very, very well, is she listens to me. And I'm not talking about like listens to think about what she's going to say back, but like when I talk to someone, and I prefer meeting people in person to talk, like I look at your facial expressions, and there's this specific look that people have when they are deeply listening. And I don't get it from many people at all. And actually, I found that within the Nigerian culture, especially when I was younger, it was people judging me or analyzing me. It was people like looking at me and being like, this girl is out of her mind. But when we talked and she would look at me like I could just tell like she's listening. And when she would respond back to what I said, it was so good. Like, have y'all ever had a conversation where it felt like we're not even in the same damn book? Like we're not even in the same place. But honestly, last Friday, like I felt like I had a conversation. We was sitting on the same ladder. Like we was on the same ladder. We was on the same spaces. Like we was at toe to toe talking, and it felt so good. Anyway, after our conversation, I came back to reflect on everything she said, because she was dropping gems left, right. And I told her about like, all the things, and she was just dropping gems. And I was like, I have to bring some of this to my podcast. Like, y'all just have to hear it. Or not even y'all have to hear it, but I need to document this so that later on I can come back to this, because I don't want it to get lost in my notebook somewhere. You feel me? And one thing that she continues to reiterate with me is just because other people have, one thing she continues to reiterate in me is just because I have a specific value does not mean that I should expect other people to have that same value. And boom, like that is something that like I continually struggle with, because to me it's like I obviously value this thing, right? And it makes absolute sense why I value this thing. And this is the reason why boom, 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 boom. But I can't expect everyone to value the same things I value. Like that is really, really hard. Like I'm still trying to get my head around it, to be completely honest with you, but it's absolutely true. And she explained, like, if you keep having expectations of these people, they will continue to fail you. And it's crazy because I tell my sisters this all the time, never expect anything from anyone. But sometimes, like now it's like, damn, like even the people I expect to know better, they don't even know better. And she's like, yeah, but it's not even their fault. This is what she told you. It's not even their fault. They just don't have the same values as you. They don't care about what you care about. And that's okay. And I was like, oh my God, that is so true. So then it had me reassess, of course. And I was thinking like, why would I continue to put myself somewhere, right, where I know that they don't have the same values as me, if I can just find somewhere that I know has the same values as me and will honor the things like that I value, right? And that goes with everything. Like that goes with like friendships, that goes with organizations, that goes with jobs, that goes with everything. If they don't value what I value, why do I stay there? Very interesting. Or if they don't value, like, even relationships, like, if this person doesn't value something that I obviously value, why would I continue to have this, like, a relationship with you? And why would I expect, or even if, right, like, maybe I can still have a relationship with you, but, like, why would I continue to expect you to have this value, right, if you don't? And you've shown me over and over and over again that you don't. Doesn't make sense. That was so good. I'm really trying to, like, still eat it up. And she talked about, like, my life experiences have made my values so far. And someone else's life experiences make their values. So it's not even like we're basically in control of like, our own personal values. Really, it's the things that we were shown, the things that we were around, the things that, like, our environment that came together to create our values. So you can't even blame anyone for not valuing that because they've had different life experiences. Crazy. And it makes her total perfect sense, but it's the application I'm now struggling with. Because I look at it and I'm like, damn, you should know this. Like, damn, you should understand this. But they don't. They don't. And I'm the only one that's getting frustrated. That was good, wasn't it? Yeah, that was really good. Another thing that she talked about was how ideally, right? It is okay to grow through things. Boom. Like, if somewhere cannot fit you no more, leave that place. It served the value when you needed it to serve your value, but you grow. You're supposed to grow out of things. You are. And I love that verbiage. Oh my gosh. Grow out of things. Grow out of. Like, that is so beautiful, because do you understand where you're growing to? Do you understand the trajectory of your growth? It's upward. You're growing out of it. But you're going up. You're rising. Yes, I'm supposed to grow out of certain things. Yes, I grew out of first grade and I went to second grade and I grew out of second grade and I got myself all the way to college. Hell yeah, I'm supposed to grow out of things. Why the hell would I have fifth grade knowledge and I'm trying to sit in first grade? That doesn't even make sense. That doesn't make sense. You are supposed to grow to it, grow through it, and grow out of it. I was like, damn. That is so true. Grow to grow. Wow, that is so true. Grow to, grow through, grow out. That is how it's supposed to happen. And that is with everything. Everything. Maybe not relationships. Y'all are supposed to grow together. But, like, with jobs, with experience, with everything. Ultimately, you never want to be stagnant. At least I don't ever want to be stagnant. You don't. You don't want to be content. I don't want to be content. I'm chasing things. But I loved that. I loved that rhetoric. I loved that. I loved it. And you know, I'm a plant person too, so I was eating it up. I loved it. And it's definitely something that, honestly, I should have tattooed on me. I'm kidding. Please don't come fight me. Or am I kidding? Who knows? But you're really supposed to grow out of things. And that's okay. That is okay. And just because you're there does not mean that, like, it's a bad thing. And just because you have to leave does not mean it's a bad thing. That is crazy. That is something that, like, yeah, just because leaving is not bad. Leaving is not bad. You just need to know when to leave. I loved that. Oh my goodness, I have so many other things that I want to tell you guys, but child, we are already sitting at 25 minutes. But I want to keep going. Okay. All right. Like, okay, so I did write some of this stuff down, but those two, like, definitely they came off my head. So let's see. You're out of things. Oh my gosh. So she explained something to me too, that, like, I don't know if I've been struggling to understand, but you know how also, though, something in one season, you might hear the same thing like your whole life, but in a different season it's gonna hit different. Yeah, this thing, yeah, you've probably heard it before. I know I've heard it before, but it hit different on Friday. Let me read to you what I wrote down. So it says, you get a seat at the table to bring others to the table. Now, I can't, you feel me? Like, I have a whole career ahead of me, so I may not be able to speak in specifics, but you'll be able to understand what I'm saying if you need to understand what I'm saying. But essentially, when you are privileged enough, oh, should I even say that? When you are opportuned enough to be able to sit at a certain position, you sit at that certain position to make sure that other seats are available for other people. Qualified people, of course, but other people who probably wouldn't have been able to get that chance had you not been specifically seated at that table because you have the same life experiences as them. I hope that makes sense. So people that needs to make sense to, it's going to make sense. Anyway, long story short, it really just made me take myself a bit more serious because I don't want to, first off, I don't want to waste my life personally, right? But I also want to be able to help other people. Ultimately, that is my number one goal. It doesn't make sense for me to get somewhere and not be able to pull people with me, right? So my goal is to be able to get somewhere and be able to bring people with me. Because honestly, it was people that brought me to where I am. You feel me? Or where I'm going. And I know it's going to be people that's going to help me get to where I'm going as well. We need people. So I really don't want to play with the little I got because I want to make sure that it's just not even for me. You feel me? Like, it's not only for me. It's for other people too. It's for other people that probably aren't even born yet. Definitely aren't even born yet. Even my kid, like, you feel me? So I just need to make sure that everywhere I sit, I first off, I don't take it for granted. And I bring people along with me. Very, very important. She didn't explain it like that, but you feel me? All right. So next thing she did say, everyone's values are dependent on their life experiences. You cannot blame someone for not sharing the same values. We talked about that. This next one is going to be very interesting. I wonder how I'm going to articulate it. So she redefined to me what humility was, which I needed first. But before we get there, let me not say that, but I have issues when I think the church, for the sake of the church's narrative, changes things and changes the definition of words, right? To be able to fit their narrative. Does that make sense? The only time I was ever taught the actual word humility was in church. The only time humility was ever used was in church. And if you look at it and you break it down, it fits the church narrative. Now, I don't have a problem with the church. The church is the church, but at the end of the day, the church has to do what the church has to do, right? So they have their own goals and their own agendas and whatever. But she explained to me that humility is also understanding that you, in whatever sense, was more privileged than someone else, right? And because you are more privileged, you should never sit or think you're above that person. You should actually really understand that y'all are the same people. You just had a little bit more help. And that hit. And I do think, like, if I'm just going to be completely transparent, and if you've come to follow me to this point, honestly, the only thing I can give you is transparency because we're sitting damn near 30 minutes in. But I was starting to, like, pick up a few notches. You understand? So it was really, really, really good. Like, it was such a great reality check for me to bring me, like, all the way down and realize, like, damn, I really couldn't have gotten here without the help that I had. And God, y'all don't even know, I had so much help. So much help So much help, so much love, so many adults with intention. I was talking to my supervisor yesterday, and she was telling me it takes one adult to change the trajectory of a child's life. And I have had so many that have pulled me this way, pulled me that way, invested in me this way, helped me this way, held me this way, to where I'm only, to be like, I'm just going to be completely frank, I'm only here because of them. And where am I? I'm not even that far. Like, I ain't really done nothing nowhere. But damn, like, I do not know. I don't even want to begin to fathom what my life would look like if I had not had the assistance that I was given. Now, not talk of the people who didn't have nothing, the people who had no help, the people who had no assistance, that were left to just figure it out on themselves. And that happens. I don't know. I just don't even know. Like, I'm honestly at the verge of tears. But again, this is why it is so important for me, like, to continue to hear this, to continue to be around. I don't know. But I do know that one day I will mentor, and I will mentor not one, but as many girls as I can. And through this, as well as the service that I'm trying to provide. Because I just don't, I believe that, like, ultimately we are all accumulation, I guess, of what we were given. And if I can just give this, if I can give motivation, if I can give help, and it's not even like self-serving, but I need it too. I need to hear these words for myself. But I will mentor. I will, and I will help somebody as well. And I will grow with someone as well, like, and I will pull someone up as well, just like how people have pulled me. And I left that day vowing, like, I will, because it takes one adult, right? One influence, one positive influence that can change the trajectory of your life. Okay, let's move forward. Oh, so another thing we talked about was so before I start, right? I have friends, all right? I have friends. I have like my 7 friends. We done talked about that, but they all live so far. They all live so far away from me. And y'all know that. Y'all, if y'all are listening to this, y'all know y'all live far. So don't do me. Don't be upset. But I need friends that live close to me. I need friends that live close to me. And I was talking to my mentor about that as well. And she told me, baby, friends will come. They will come. You just keep doing what you're doing. And the friends that you need to, like, be there physically will be there. God will place them there. And I needed to hear that because actually, besides the point, I'm not even going to go there, but yeah. So to you as well, right? Like, friends will come. I'm your friend. Do you know that? Yeah. Friends will come. Friends will come. Okay. Last one. But this one is not even like, for the boys. I mean, sorry. Like, this one is not even a part of what my mentor had talked about. This one is just me and my assessment of the people around me. But Jesus Christ, I hate bad leadership. Oh my gosh. And I'm learning that. And actually, I love great leadership. And why? And you know what? I would find myself in places, right, where I would become very, very frustrated. And I would be like, why am I so especially in religious organizations. But I'd be like, why am I so frustrated? Like, why is this, like, pissing me off? And I'd be like, is this the devil? Oh my gosh, he's so sneaky. No, I'm learning, right, that I am very, very organized. I like things a very, very certain way. And when things don't sit in that way, it frustrates me. And I mean, genuinely, I don't care, like, what you look like in leadership, but you have to be good at it. You do, especially if I'm under you, because essentially in all the places that I'm in, I am learning leadership because one day I want to do that. Point blank, period. I want to lead organizations. I want to lead companies. I want to go to places and tell people how to lead their companies. You feel me? I want to do leadership. So when I am under you, right? I'm looking at everything you do. Everything. And I'm not asking you to be perfect. Come on. Like, I'm not asking you to be perfect, but get it together. Like, get it together. Get it together. And it's under being really, really good leadership. Like my job, like the leadership is, oh my gosh, he's good. That I realized, like, I wasn't the problem. They were. And anyway, it's a skill I'm learning, and it's a skill that I just realized that I really, really value. And that has just been biting on my toes lately. I'm not even gonna lie to you, just been biting on my toes, nibbling. So I just wanted to talk about that as well. But yeah, I don't know. Let's do something fun, right? Let's do L's that I've been catching and W's. So L's are losses, W's are wins, and then we can wrap this all up, okay? So an L I caught. Oh, I actually didn't think about this before I pitched it, but an L I've caught was my very first thing I want to think about is my tire pressures are bad, and I just don't have the time, the motivation, or I just don't have the time or the motivation to go get it done. So that's definitely an. And a W that I caught this week is what? I feel like something happened that was good and that made me happy. I think I got money. I think I got like $10 for something that I wasn't expecting, and I was really, really happy. All my money goes to Dunkin' Donuts now. I'm not proud of it, but this is who I am. Dunkin' Donuts, sponsor me. Sponsor me. Y'all should sponsor me. Stop playing with me, sponsor me. Okay. I think we're done. I have given y'all a great, lengthy, chunky podcast. I have to listen to this back because I don't know what I just told you guys. But it is time to clear off the table and wash the dishes. I love you so much. Do you know that? Yeah. Please, please, please follow, subscribe, give us the stars, gives us the ratings. It really, really helps this podcast grow. If you want to see the face behind the voice, follow me at Fikayo. Our podcast also has an Instagram, and that is @thetable_pod, and come follow us. I provide great content. And that is pretty much it. All right. Do not forget to pray all the time and laugh really, really, really loud. I love you.